estate agent to come and learn and ask some questions and be able to network with top producers in this local market. Our program is pretty multifaceted. We do have a monthly magazine that actually features the top 500 producing agents every single month, which is called Tampa Bay Real Producers. How many of you have seen that magazine before and know what I'm talking about? Most of you. Awesome. You can find that, by the way, on our website, which is just tampabayrealproducers.com. To be a top 500 agent, for those of you who might not know, there are over 24,000 licensed agents in Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco County, according to the data we had last year. Of those 24,000 agents, the vast majority of them did 2 or less deals all of last year. In fact, about 10,000 of them did not report a single deal, even though they were licensed last year. But to be in the top 500 would mean that these are agents that are doing over $13 million in annual volume. That was kind of the cutoff at that 500 spot. And they averaged about 50 transactions per agent to be in that audience. So those are the people that you're going to see today as an example on our panel. And every month, those are the people who are on our panels, as well as the people that are in our monthly magazine that we feature. They don't pay us a dime to be featured. That's always a question that I get. I know that there are a lot of real estate platforms where agents can pay to play, and that's not how our program works. It's simply based on production. If they're a top 500 producer, that's what makes them deserving of the feature. And it's really about their story and how they became a top producer. So that's been going on now in this market since 2018. We host over 40 different events a year, guys. This is one of those events that we put on, this monthly series. We do monthly happy hours as well to celebrate the agents that are featured in the magazine. We also do other bigger scale events. We just held our annual Agent Choice Award last month. Some of you I know voted for people that were that won or that were nominated for 15 different categories. So there's a lot of different things that you can see at tampabayrealproducers.com. But as I mentioned earlier, we have preferred partners who support our entire platform. And these partners are mortgage lenders and title companies and home inspection companies and insurance professionals, general contractors, roofing companies, staging companies, basically all of your preferred vendors that support you and help you build your business. Those are the same vendors that we get through referrals. They have to come to us as a referral-based nominee from a top producer. But those are the people that we partner with to support this event as well as everything that we do with Tampa Bay Real Producers. I want to introduce you to a few of them who are specifically sponsoring this series every month, and that helps support this particular event at Whiskey Cake. If we could just give Whiskey Cake a round of applause as well, I appreciate them for being a great host, providing great food, mimosas, coffee, whatever we need. So we appreciate them for sure. But let me introduce you to a few people. I saw Carrie. I'm going to bring her up first with Homestretch. Carrie and Mark and the team, they've been really jumping in and supporting a lot of different events that we've been putting on with Tampa Bay Real Producers. Carrie, I'll have you say a quick hello. There you go.
Good morning. Who wants to make more money? Yeah, everybody? So our goal at Homestretch is to help you make more money by selling your houses for the most amount of money possible. So Homestretch is going to partner with you to make this really easy. We come in, we'll give you a consultation within 24 hours, and we help transform the homes from, some of those homes are dated 1995. We bring them up to 2025. So we'll do painting, LVP. If grandma has gone to the nursing home, we're going to clear out all that stuff the family doesn't want, and we'll get rid of that for you. We will just make it updated, perfect to what we want to sell. We're going to do the cosmetic updates, and we usually get these jobs done in maybe 5 to 10 business days. So we're turning around quickly so you can get them listed quickly for the most amount of money. We have financing options, and we just really partner with you and what your vision is for the home to get the most amount of money. So we're excited to work with you. If you have any questions, would love to just chit-chat and get to know you after the event's over. All right?
Awesome.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you. You can put it right behind you on the chair there. Thank you, guys. I have a couple other people I wanted to make sure you guys knew. Let me bring up one of our new partners, Mike Johnson over here with J Brothers Yachting. Who doesn't want to go out on a yacht? I mean, come on. It's a pretty fun little business model. Mike, I'll have you say a few words about that model and how you work with agents.
Morning. Morning, everybody. So I don't know if any of you have worked with yacht brokers before. Has anybody done any boat sales, worked with boat sales, worked with clients selling boats, buying boats? Holy cow. None of you. Who's been on a boat? Yeah, there's one. You guys have all been on boats. I mean, it's obviously very prevalent in our area. So just so you know, the yachting industry here on this west coast of Florida is around $23 billion. That's the entire industry itself. We do about $5 to $6 billion in actual sales transactions. So what we're actually here to present to you is I'm a full brokerage. I do yachting brokeraging. What our process and how it works resembles yours very, very closely. How we operate, how we put in offers, inspections, and the whole process. We're just slinging stuff on the water. You guys are slinging stuff on dirt. We're basically the same. However, if you probably look at your current client list and past client list, you probably actually realize you have a lot of opportunity in front of you that you didn't even think about. 10% of homeowners right now are actually buying and purchasing yachts and boats in the Tampa Bay, Sarasota area, which means 1 out of 10 of your clients is actually engaging in a transaction for boating. Most of them are off the back of their house. 2,500 listings right now between Sarasota and Tampa are currently up for sale with a dock out back. Those individuals are a higher probability of what? Buying or selling a boat. We are officially opening the door for you to do an add-on license to sell that boat without any more work, with no costs, and we're not going to add anything to training or anything to bottom line unless you need it. Essentially, our teams handle everything as the primary contact to your already client. So you're already dealing with these clients. We're just going to open the door to allow you to make more commission. And here's what's really interesting. You guys do about 5 to 6% on listings. Ours is 10. So you can actually earn between $10,000 to $15,000 for a $500,000 boat. I could double your commissions. And even better, we have found out in our studies is that a homeowner, when they buy the house, when they buy the boat, if it's through you, they're going to come back to you in about a year or two and sell the boat, buy another boat, and then sell a boat again. So you'll see 3 to 4 transactions during the term of ownership before they come back to you to sell the house, giving you multiple opportunities of commission, huge amounts of commission, multiple touch points, keeping in front of your clients as the primary. Look, I'm not here to turn you into yacht brokers. I'm here to tell you that you actually have an opportunity that's already in front of you. So I have a program that is all set up. It's very simple how to get started with us. I'm going to be sitting here for the rest of the day today. Please come up. I can give you a landing page and an overview and very simple information on how you can get started. You can learn more. We're building our beta groups now. I have realtors that have already been doing this over the last 2 years. We've just expanded it now. It does work. I got very successful stories back from realtors. And I do have some realtors that have turned around and actually more than doubled commissions on the same client. So if you'd like to learn more about us, please let me know. I'll be here for a little longer. Again, it's J Brothers Yacht Sales. We're based out of Tampa. And if there's any way we can help kind of expand your business this year and improve your whole ability in your business itself and offer the entire lifestyle, that's what we're here for. So that's it.
Thank you, Mike. You can put it right behind you, bud. I appreciate it. Cool program. So I definitely recommend you guys check it out. Hopefully it's always good ways to be able to make more money, right? Let me introduce you to Tiffany as well with Triton Insurance, another one of our preferred partners that have been supportive of a lot of our different programs. And I'll have you say a quick word as well.
Well, for starters, we are really good at boat insurance and yacht insurance. So I'm going to start there. We do a lot of them. So who's ready for hurricane season? Anyone? I know my heart is pumping for June 1st. I am petrified. So I'm Triton Insurance. We specialize in personal lines, commercial, boat, everything aside from health and life. And we are rapidly growing. So not only did we get Geico a few months ago, but we also just got a brand new company to the state of Florida. They are only giving appointments to about 50 agencies in the entire state, and they are called OREN 180. And unlike any other product for the homeowners market, they have a 3-year premium lock for some of their products. So if you have a client right now who is worried about what the future holds for their mortgage payments, 3-year premium lock with this carrier. They're the only company to ever offer this. The other thing, our insurance company is a little bit different than the other broker down the street. If you guys have your phones out, we also have a nonprofit. It's called helpnowproject.org. So during Hurricane Ian, we actually did about 1,500 hours of search and rescue. We do community involvement where we teach like CPR classes, first aid, response. So we're very hands-on as well. But if you got your phones out, it's helpnowproject.org. So we did a ton of involvement last year with Helene as well. We actually serviced and we went out with Clearwater Fire Department and we helped do welfare checks as well after the storm. So not only are we there for your homeowners during claims, but we're also boots on the ground during. So that's us, guys. Woo!
Thank you. I'll steal that. These two mics don't like to be close to each other, apparently. All right, guys, we have a couple other partners who have supported our platform as well. I want to just throw them out there. University Title. I don't know if you guys know Lori LaCoppola. She's pretty well known in our market. She's not here right now, but Lori is helping to promote and helping to promote our entire platform, which again is University Title. And then Lincoln Lending, Frank the Bank, many of you know him, is another partner that is a supporting partner of this particular series. So thank you to Frank and the team. All right, you guys ready to learn about video marketing? One last thing I have to say is you might see these things floating around on your tables just to make sure you understand what these QR cards are for. On one side, you'll see a preferred partner QR code. And so just like the people you just heard from, as I mentioned earlier, we only work with preferred partners that have come as referrals from agents that are generally part of our program. But we do have opportunities for more partners that we feel like are the right fits. This QR code is basically for any of your favorite vendors that you love to do business with, that you think should be at least a candidate for becoming an official partner with Tampa Bay Real Producers. You can scan that, put their information in, and then we can follow up with them to see if there's a good fit there. There's also a podcast QR code if you don't already subscribe to our podcast, which is Top Producers Nation. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, whatever your favorite podcast platform might be. The QR code, I believe, will take you to our YouTube channel, though, if you wanted to subscribe. Every week, we interview top producing agents and preferred partners and dig into their stories, and you can find that there on that podcast. And then lastly, on the big QR code you'll see here, we have an online community called Top Producers Nation. One of our panelists today produces a ton of programs and courses and done-for-you packages that has a lot of the same frameworks as to what we teach with this online community. It's designed for real estate agents who are committed to being top producers in their desired market. It's a national program. It's not just Tampa Bay, but that's another thing that you can check out. There's a lot of free resources on there for you as an agent to help you grow your business, and then there's other options in there for you as well. Okay. All three panelists that we have today are people that have been featured in Tampa Bay Real Producers before at some point, all top 500 producing agents. First person I'm going to bring up is Senia Korneva. Ranked in the top 200 here in Tampa Bay in 2024, did over $15 million in business last year. Obviously, this topic today is about the power of video, and I would encourage you probably to follow all three of these individuals online. Senia does a great job and has generated most of her business through online social media, right? Through video marketing, building her brand via video. And when she's not working, she says you can check her out at restaurants around Tampa Bay, hanging out at the beach, or spending time with her husband, dog, and her cat. So, Senia, thank you for being here. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you. Let's bring up Honey Weidman. Where'd you go? There's Honey. Honey Weidman was featured in an issue last year in Tampa Bay Real Producers as a featured agent. If you read that story, you'd see that Honey initially is from New Zealand, came to the States in the 90s, had a 20-year-plus career in interior design, and has been a top producing real estate agent over the last many years here. She did over $20 million in business last year with Keller Williams. Honey, we were talking before here, does a lot of her promotion and video work through TikTok, so I'm sure we'll talk about that on this particular panel for sure, and other platforms as well. Let's give her a round of applause. Honey Weidman. Thank you, Honey. And last but not least, we have Mr. Adam Morajan coming up behind me. Adam is a team lead over with eXp Realty. His team's done over $200 million in business here since becoming a team. This past year of 2024, his team did over $55 million. This year, they're already over $35 million in sales. And a lot of that business, he says, is from his social media snowball effect. His focus is on YouTube, Instagram, his podcast, as well as many different online blogs to generate content and attract a following. And Adam, again, as you've seen, has been featured in Tampa Bay Real Producers. So let's give him a round of applause as well. All right, guys. So we're going to start with, and by the way, don't feel obligated to have to answer every question necessarily. So if there's something that has already been hit on and we want to move on, that's totally fine. We have a lot of questions. We probably won't get through all of them anyway. As the audience, feel free to think of any questions that you might have. We might have a few minutes towards the end to be able to throw some questions out if you would like to. So let's talk about your origin philosophy when it comes to video marketing. When did it become important to you? And I guess we could say, why did that become a focus for you when you think about this topic that we're diving into today? Why don't we start with Senia?
Hi, everyone. So I have been doing video for a while. I get those little time hop things from my YouTube back in 2017 when I was first starting real estate, and they're all very embarrassing. But you get better every time you film the video. So I have been focusing on it strategically probably for about 3 years. And I mainly started focusing on house tours, and that has been a huge help to my business. And before that, I was just kind of doing like neighborhood tours and just regular like live videos at open houses. But my strategy came into play around 2022, I think.
I'm sure we'll dive into that strategy in a few minutes here. Honey, how about you?
Hi there. I started video during COVID because it seemed like a really good way to connect with people when we couldn't connect with people. And I was terrible at it. The worst. I look at those videos and I cry. But I kept on doing it because I wanted to make sure that I was still top of mind, even if I couldn't be physically with people. I really started focusing on it probably 2.5 years ago, strategically with a plan, and focused on TikTok, which I thought was just a platform for teenagers to do dances. And my teenagers were horrified at the idea of their mother being on TikTok. I've never done a dance on TikTok. I don't do skits, but I do a lot of education and just things that pop to mind that I get asked all the time by people who want to buy houses or want to sell houses. So,
Makes sense?
yeah, that's about it.
Adam?
Yeah, so I'm a bit of an old school realtor, I guess. Used to database, sphere of influence, everything was living it right there. And 2020, COVID, I guess you could say, everything shut down. I had 2 kids at home, homeschooling. My wife had a finance job, so she said, well, we have consistency with a W-2. You take the kids. So I had a lot of time to think, but I couldn't go out and have coffee, kiss babies, all the stuff that you do as realtors. And I needed to find something different. And I said, okay, I can cold call. I needed to do something from home. I could cold call people, which I did not want to do. And then I said, well, let me figure out something that could get inbound leads, right? Number one, you could run ads, but that was still cold calling people and you didn't have trust with them. You have to build that up. So for me, I just decided, let's go video route, learned it, dove in, never had camera experience, I didn't have a YouTube channel in 2020. I didn't have an Instagram account till before last year. I still don't have a TikTok account. So I won't do it unless it's business driven. Because otherwise, I'm really old school. Like, just put me on the beach, put me somewhere else. I'm just going to enjoy life. So if anybody out there is like, oh, video scares me, or I don't know what to do, I'm that guy. Like, I'm living proof that it works. And that was only 4 years ago. So.
Yeah, and we're going to dive into some of these challenges that either you had to overcome or that you've seen other agents get, hindered by when thinking about creating video content. But all 3 of you really have mentioned at some point you decided to have a strategy, around video. So I want to dive into that a little bit more and kind of identify, like, how would you describe your strategy? What is it? What can you do to kind of share a little bit more about how you think about it and what that strategy looks like now? You want to start first, honey?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think that we have a shotgun approach a lot of times in real estate. The bar is pretty low. Anyone can get a license. You say there's 20,000 people, half of them didn't even sell a house, kind of thing. So you don't have to be amazing to be pretty good. You can do a good job. But if you're shotgun approaching how you're finding your business, you won't be successful. Or you won't be successful in a meaningful way. You'll be lucky. I want to put myself strategically in front of the right people because I'm always being interviewed. I'm being interviewed by people scrolling on Facebook. I'm being interviewed by people on TikTok, wherever, and they have an opportunity to decide whether they want to follow me, but more importantly, if they want to work with me. And I often get phone calls from people saying, hi, it's Karen from TikTok. Hey, Karen. Like, I have no idea who Karen is, but she likes me. She sees value in what I do. She thinks that I can help her with a problem. That's the strategy. Interviewing all of the time, producing content that people want to know, and being available.
What type of interviews are you doing?
No, I'm being interviewed by being on social media. They're interviewing me, just like when I'm at an open house. I always encourage people, if you're thinking about getting an agent, go to an open house. See if you like that agent. I'm interviewing whether I like it or not. These guys, we're all interviewing whether we like it or not every day. So you get to control the narrative of what is it that people know about you. What's the experience that they have, and you can do that through video.
Got it. Adam, you want to go next?
So strategy for video, is that right?
Yeah, strategies that you think have worked well for you, how you would define your video strategy today.
Okay. All right. So I got a lot of different ways I can approach that. So What's that? I'm not shotgun. I'm very much piggyback on her. You have to have a strategy. What I would say is that I'm very meticulous on how I attack things. So I'm going to give you an overall picture of what I'm working on right now. Okay. If I decided I want inbound leads, I decided that video is the route that I'm going to go. That's the first place. Once you do that, it's like go all in. So I have now basically trained my mind to where I'm not a typical real estate agent anymore. I am a marketing company that sells real estate. That's how I've trained my mind. And I have to build everything around it. Like I've told them, like, oh, I'm building a marketing team. Like I hire videographers and whatever I can to assist with my time, just like you would a TC or an admin or whomever. So I look at it the same exact way. That being said, it's going to be a big answer, sorry. YouTube for me is my biggest driver. Instagram's a supporting cast. If I have an opportunity, I'm going to do podcasting as well. Those are my content pieces where it's now people are consuming that. They're digesting it and they're kind of seeing it all over the place. I'm going to have a website with a CRM that's going to capture that and convert those leads. But then I'm going to repurpose that into a newsletter to nurture everybody that I've brought in through lead magnets on those platforms. So how am I using video? I'm using it to put out content that people want. They're going to consume it. I'm going to bring them back in with strategy. And then I'm going to nurture them again with more of the same content that they already liked. It's a very general answer, but big.
Makes sense. Yeah, and we're going to dive into like some of your favorite types of content, which you mentioned content for sure. Sunny, I'll have you chime in first on your overall strategy, because I'm sure it's not exactly the same, and all of us have our unique ways that we approach it.
Perfect. So my strategy, my main platform is Instagram, and I do have YouTube and TikTok as well, but most of my leads come from Instagram. And I have a few different content pillars, which we'll touch base on soon. But I like to post 5 days a week. I do 5 videos usually a week. And then I also post like pictures, like static pictures almost every day at local houses that I think are going to be attractive to like my ideal client. And then I also post ones that I know are going to like generate a lot of attention. So a week ago, I posted, or maybe 2 weeks ago, like a log cabin for sale in Zephyr Hills. And I knew that one would go viral. And it was literally just pictures from the MLS. It wasn't a video. And it's gotten so many shares. I'm still getting DMs about it. And I knew it would do well because it's a unique property. Like we don't see log cabins here. So you want to kind of think a few different strategies. Mine is mainly post something that will probably go viral or get a lot of attention. Post something towards your ideal client. And then also just post lifestyle things because people aren't always looking for a house. So I do a lot of like restaurants because I like eating out, or just like small businesses. I love to highlight those as well. So that's kind of my main strategies. And then we'll dive deeper probably in the content pillars next too.
Yeah, just to follow up on the strategy of, you said 5 posts a week, right? Is that 1 per day? I'm assuming, is that Monday through Friday?
So I usually do, I do a lot. You don't have to, some people find this overwhelming, but I usually do 5 videos a week and then 5 like regular picture posts a week, like carousel posts. So it's really like every day I do 1 video, 1 carousel at least.
Is there a different theme to the daily posts? Like, you mentioned already a couple different ideas of types of posts that you do, and this brings us into the content conversation too. But do you have it planned out where it's like, hey, Monday is my post on this type, and Tuesday I post on this type? Is that how you view it?
So it depends on if I have like a listing launching that week. So I always like to post my listings more than other houses, obviously, because I have to help my clients. So I usually like to post a house tour every day. Sometimes I just don't get to it. So as many as you can, 3 to 5 days a week, a house tour or whatever type of content you guys like to do. And then for the carousel posts, I just try to find like a nice, unique listing or a nice listing that'll resonate with my ideal client and post that every day. So it's basically like the same content. And then the restaurants, I try to post a couple times a week, usually around lunchtime because that's when people are hungry. So that's the main like schedule for that. Yeah, my name's kind of hard to spell, but it's Ksenia, KSENIYA .Tampa Realtor.
I ask about the plan because I think that's in many ways where things should start, right? Is having a strategy that you actually have documented somewhere and that you can wrap your brain around, something you can implement, rather than just, I'm going to post content kind of willy-nilly and see what lands and what doesn't. There's a lot of power and consistency when it comes to any sort of content strategy. At least that's what I found. And I do think that there's also a lot of traction in the concept of having different posting themes throughout your campaign. As an example, I know different example, but with our business model, even we do a lot of stuff where like Mondays is content about our events, right? And we do a lot of event content on Mondays, and Tuesdays happens to be what we call testimonial Tuesdays. And so every Tuesday is like some sort of testimonial that gets posted, whether that's from a partner or an agent or whoever. And then every day there's something different like that. We have a day that's dedicated towards the magazine content. I think that's Thursday or Friday. You have to ask my social media person. But we have a different day each week that has a specific theme to it. And we've seen a lot of traction from that. I think there's something that comes from just having that consistency across the board. And so let's talk a little bit more about content and what types of video content you love to produce, what's worked well, what's gotten the best results, and what hasn't. I think we can learn from that too on the failing side, or however you would define failure, I guess. So we'll start with Adam this time. What type of video content do you love to produce? What's worked best for you?
Yeah, so we do a nice variety, but I would say my my main focus is being a local resource. And what does that mean? It means I'm definitely going to talk about real estate. My audience. First, you have to identify your audience. My audience is usually people looking to relocate here, or they're people that are already here thinking about where am I going to move. So that's how I have to always think. Now, when you're thinking about moving, you want to know, the best neighborhoods. You want to know what's currently going on in your city. You want to know the things to do, the events, because that's part of the lifestyle. Schools are important if you have kids, proximity to things. So, it's going to be really hard if you go to the airport every day or every other day, whatever you're, as an example, and you live in Wesley Chapel. You're crossing everything. So that might not be a good fit for you. So really not just sugarcoating everything, but telling them like, hey, that might not work. You might want to rethink that. And I personally like to share it from my own experience, right? So I'll give you a really good example of this. I just shot a video that was, what would I do differently if I was moving to Tampa, Florida? Now, when I shot that, I had to put my mindset and how am I going to connect with the audience on this, right? And I said, okay, first thing that people ask me all the time is like, where am I going to live? Or, how do I go through all that? And my answer is always lifestyle first. It's how do you fit this to your day-to-day more so than I want to be 15 minutes from the beach, which you're not going to visit for a month. So I instantly said, okay, and a lot of people watch my channels for months or years even, so they know that I'm born and raised here. So I immediately came out and said, well, if I was going to move here, this is what I would do, but I got to stop you right there and be honest. I was born and raised here. I've never had to move to Tampa, but it doesn't mean that I can't relate with you. Not only have I helped hundreds of families move here, but, different life transitions kind of correlate. So for example, when I was young, if I wanted to live in a place that was happening and all this and that and nightlife, that's great. And then maybe I had young kids in a family. I went to South Tampa and I love the adventurous, outdoorsy, active lifestyle that I could go and walk on Bayshore. But then I was like, man, I really need parks and playgrounds, and it didn't fit my lifestyle. So, and this is all real, by the way. And then I moved to Lutz, went to Cheval, and I loved it, but it didn't match my lifestyle. 2 years later, I was moving out because everything, my kid's school was in Tampa, my wife, and if anybody's ever driven down Del Mabry at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m., it's a nightmare because that's just how it is when you're going from Lutz all the way to, middle of Tampa.
Wait, you moved to Lutz and left your wife in Tampa?
I mean, I tried, but it didn't work. She can't, I can't get rid of her, and she can't get rid of me.
That's a whole other panel. Wow.
It's a whole other thing. But bringing it back is now we kind of figured it out. And through those different life stages, what I've needed and what I've wanted has changed. And so I can relate to that. And then I was like, how can I stand out from other people shooting video? Because if somebody else had that idea, then I want to be unique. So I said, one thing that's really unique, how can I write this in my video to stand out that are pain points for people? And it's when you move to a new area, you lose your social circle. And losing your social circle is part of community, and you need that. So I said, what would I do first? And I said, for the first 60 to 90 days, I would be a yes man. And I would match it with my hobbies. I'd say meetup groups with, if I'm active, I'm going to go pickleball. I'm going to play something. If it's my kids are important to me, I'm going to match up with other, play dates or whatever that is to start to build that social circle. Because how many people have relocated or moved to a new area and they're like, I just don't like it. I haven't connected with anybody. Well, that's your fault. Right? So I'm giving them real insight. And even though it wasn't my most viral video, the comments blew me away. And this was literally last week. And it was like best video ever, all this stuff. And I want to know why. And this is another big tip, right? It's social media. Be social. Engage with them and ask them. Don't just be like, heart, thank you. I was like, wow, I really appreciate that. What stood out to you from this video? And they said, you're authentic. You really touched in and you cared about the message you were getting through, and you gave actual insight, not only of you as a local, but what your clients have done. So I guess, how, what was, I don't even know what the question was. It was basically video content, right?
Yep. Yeah, content that's worked well for you. So
yeah, so
I
that was
think
it.
we hit
Authentic.
it on knowing your audience.
Yep.
Right, understanding
Got
exactly
lost.
what your audience is generally looking for, and you identified your audience as the relocation audience, right? Specifically, which obviously makes sense as a real estate agent. So, what type of content can you create that's going to resonate with them? And when you start with that in mind, then you can start to get creative.
Yeah, it was local resource first, and then be authentic and get that message across, because you have to get to them. You have to reach them through video.
Got it.
So,
Honey, how about you?
So I'm Honey Weedman, Tampa Realtor is my social handle across everything, if you want to look. We're not selling houses. You might think that you're selling houses, but we're actually not selling houses. We're selling ourselves. So people look at the video content that you put out because they want to know who you are. So I thought initially that everyone would want to see the houses that I listed. And I'm very strategic with the houses that I list. I don't take every listing all over the Tampa Bay. I predominantly am in Westchase. So my audience is, who are the people looking to buy and sell, mainly because I really want listings more than buyers, and how can I talk to them? Well, it goes back to that interview. I want to make sure that all of the content that I'm putting out, they're having an opportunity to get to know who I am. So while I was posting my house and I have a fantastic videographer and wonderful, all of the videos and things, they don't perform as well for me. And I'm like, that's crazy. I got a $2.5 million listing right now. I can't get a view on that video to save my life. Why? Because then it's not me. I put me in the video, and all of a sudden I start getting more views. So content-wise is going to be different for every single one of you. Not her content's not going to work for you, his content's not going to work for you. You got to figure out what is your content. Who is it that you want to speak to, and how are you going to speak with them, and then how are you going to engage with them? If you just heart through stuff, like, it's just like click forwarding. Like, here's your email. It's not, you need that connection. So my most successful content is when it's me on the phone, and I'm talking about something, and I have a list of things that my clients ask me every day, or other agents ask me every day, and I keep it in my notebook. And then if I get 5 seconds to have a conversation about it, my phone, and I do it right there on TikTok. And by the way, TikTok is CapCut. If you're using CapCut, it's the same technology. The reason I use TikTok is because it's easy for me to download those videos without a watermark, and I can repurpose them everywhere else. So I have a bank. You mentioned that 5 times a week is your posting. I'm posting 2 times a day, 7 days a week. But I did those videos months ago. And you can repurpose all of that content all of the time. So the things that I'm talking about are the tax estimator, and when your taxes are reassessed, and the HOA, and how does that work, and this is the SPD, and this is why you need that. And these are the things that you should do when you're interviewing an agent, and you should be interviewing an agent. I'm grooming my audience to know how to do real estate. And yeah, I've got some beautiful houses, and you can look at that cool content too, and I got a great videographer who does great stuff. But they're more interested in you, because they want to know if they want to work with you. They can look at all the houses in the land and say, that's a really cool house. And they can hear about all of the cool things that you can do around that house. But you might be a total tool, and they don't want to work with you, right? So you've got to create an environment where people get to know who you are so that they can work with you. Some people don't love being on camera. I say get over it, because you got to go and talk to people. Why would I go and talk to one person, like your cold calling reference, when I can talk to 1 million people all at the same time, hearing this little snippet, a minute, maybe, of content about how you do what you want them to do. I want them to list a house. Here's how you do it. People don't know what they're doing when it comes to buying and selling houses. They're woefully under-informed. So I use my platform and content to educate them in bite-sized pieces.
There's a lot of great stuff there, honey. Thank you. I love the repurposing statement you made. There's a ton of value to the fact that you can just keep using that content in different platforms over periods of time and having a system in place for that. And really, in many ways, depending on the content you're creating, it can be evergreen content, right? That can live on YouTube or anywhere else. So great stuff. Sanya, do you have anything you want to add there?
Yeah, so I'll add something real quick. So, Honey mentioned making personal connections. So, one of the best ways to do personal connections on Instagram is through stories. So, we haven't really touched base on stories yet, but I definitely recommend doing stories every day. Just kind of post yourself working, post your like what you're eating, post your dog, like things that people can actually break the barrier and like DM you, react to you, and then be sure to engage back with them. And another method too is to actually go on other people's stories and just like send a reaction emoji or reply to them and make sure that they know that you're able to communicate. Because a lot of times people might think that you're hard to reach, and you want to make sure they can just easily DM you if they have a question, and that you're their resource, you're their go-to resource because you're always available to answer on a DM or something like that. So definitely utilize stories for connection.
Yeah, I love that. And you did say earlier that Instagram seems to be where you get the majority of your leads. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else other than the stories approach that you just mentioned? I know Reels is also a big part, obviously, of Instagram. Do you want to touch on it all about like your philosophy of Reels versus stories and how you use both? You've already
Yeah.
mentioned stories, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. So I do reels. Reels are a great way to reach like new audiences and new people, but stories are a way to kind of build your community, the ones that already follow you and interact with you. So it's important to grow your account, but it's also important to talk to the people that are there supporting you and watching your content. And that's why stories are so good. I also like utilizing polls in stories. So if you ask people a question on a poll and they answer, make sure you engage with those people, especially if it's like a real estate question and they answer your poll. That means they're like actively thinking about real estate, and you want to make sure you go and follow their account, like try to interact with them and try to make sure that they are seeing you regularly. Because the kind of what she mentioned earlier is it really is like an interview resume of sorts, where if they constantly see your page every single day, the more you post, then the more they're going to think of you first, and you're going to be top of mind when they think of realtors around Tampa.
Yeah, no, great stuff there. I love that distinction between the approach with Reels versus stories, right? A lot of people get confused still by that. Obviously, in many ways, they do reach different audiences, and I think you did a great job of clarifying that. So there's a strategy really for both, and I think you need to be aware of that. I also, since we brought up YouTube earlier that you did, Adam, I believe, and do you all three of you use YouTube? Honey does? Okay, perfect. What is your thoughts on like YouTube Shorts versus longer form content? Like, how do you view long form content versus short form content? What's your opinions on how you use both? I'm assuming you use both.
Adam should answer this one because he's
Adam?
the expert.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to do that? So, it's interesting. Just even being up here listening to each of their stories. You know, Honey is saying be personable and sell yourself, and talk about the buyer or seller process. I'm like not anti that, but I'm completely opposite. I'm making content that's for direct to the audience, for them resource. She'll go and show a million homes, and that works for her. So what I'm trying to say is not that they're wrong, it's that they're different. So there's a million different ways you can go about this. You got to figure out what works and works for you. But in saying that, shorts, I don't believe that I'm going to put a short on YouTube as a platform. There is a time and a place for shorts on YouTube. I feel like it's more entertainment than it is educational / entertainment. YouTube is a platform that was initially created for long form content. In fact, the way that they make money is ads. So if you make a video shorter than 8 minutes, you can't place a mid-roll ad. So that tells me right away I need to do it more than 8 minutes. And then they tell you how are they going to push your content out? Well, they're going to push it out if you have audience or video retention. So how long can you keep them on that one video or platform? So again, if it's a quick snap onto the next one, it doesn't tell me that that platform is technically built for that. Now, did they launch it? Sure, and they're trying to compete with TikTok and Instagram. So that makes sense, and I think there's a place for it. I personally would do it separate, and if I wanted to run shorts, because I could probably think of a way I could do it, I would probably open a second channel and do it just a shorts channel and then just a long channel. But they might use it, so.
That's interesting. So instead of having both on one channel, your philosophy is having two separate channels. If you were to do that, one focused on shorts, one focused on long form. Do you guys have a similar philosophy at all, or what's your opinion on that?
First off, you can't do everything yourself. You cannot do all of the things for all of the people. I know that saying that I post twice a day freaked some of you out. Once every, 5 times a week freaked some of you out. So you have to figure out what works for you. For YouTube, I only use it to post my professional house tour videos. And in that, I have, and again, it's Honey Weedman, Tampa Realty, you can look. It's just the videos of my listings. But I use that channel when I'm going on a listing appointment, and I say, here's a way for you to look at all of how I present homes. And that's what I use it for. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know everything about video or social media. And I don't know, sometimes I forget to do a story, or I forget to do a reel, or I'm only doing this. And as long as you're doing something regularly, that's better than doing something once and saying it doesn't work. So consistency, knowing where you post what and when, is half the battle. I schedule my stuff, so I'm not sitting there every day posting things, and I'm not recording every day. Or I might be recording this day, but I don't use that for a week. You get to control the narrative here about how you show up. And it doesn't have to be completely overwhelming, because people say, well, when do you sell houses? All of the time. But that's the content, me going to do the thing. So YouTube, use it how you want to use it.
I gotcha. Senia?
So I have kind of been experimenting with shorts. So for me, the best shorts on YouTube have been like just a quick clip of like a kitchen, like something nice. So those tend to perform better. So basically with shorts, I'm taking my videos that have done well on Instagram and just posting those, because kind of like what she said is I just don't have time to like dedicate all the attention to every single platform. So that's been my YouTube shorts strategy. I'm not saying go and do that. That's just what I'm trying right now. And I don't know yet if it's going to work well, but I have gotten like a couple thousand views like here and there on the YouTube shorts. So it's pretty good for like a smaller platform for me. So definitely like test it out. And kind of what they were saying is just figure out what content works for you. I was talking to Adam earlier. He does a lot of like news content and like green screen content. I personally don't enjoy making that, so I don't do that. So you have to enjoy what you do. Whereas he doesn't want to pick out which house he wants to go film and go drive there and film it, and I like that. So you really have to settle down and like figure out what do you enjoy. If you hate leaving your house and you want to just talk about the news, then use the green screen feature. Like, it's an awesome feature, and you can just sit in your house and film it without having to go anywhere. But if you like touring the houses and seeing them and like getting to know what's out there, then go and do like house tours. So there's definitely different kinds of strategies and kinds of content. And then for length of YouTube videos and things like that, so I actually know somebody in California, and they have been doing 5 and 6 minute long TikTok videos, and they're doing really well. They're getting a ton of clients from it, which is like the opposite of what you would expect. TikTok is meant for shorter form, but they're doing well. So you just never know. As long as you stay consistent and like settle down on a niche, have a similar style of content, and post regularly, you might be really successful in something that none of us are doing. Like, no one was doing 6 minute house tours on TikTok until them. I mean, somebody was, but they were kind of like the innovators that I know of, and they've been getting a lot of clients from it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even know TikTok allowed 6 minute videos on the platform. You could do up to 10.
They just changed it, yeah.
Cool. Good. You learn something new every day. That's what we're here for, right? And I think most people that I've seen anyway utilize YouTube Shorts as just like the same content that they put on Instagram Reels, that they'll put on TikTok if they use that as well, is just replicated on YouTube Shorts. I think that's most people's strategy or philosophy. I don't think they're necessarily creating a different type of content for YouTube Shorts, even though maybe that is, a strategy that's worth experimenting. A lot of this is about experimentation, figuring out what you feel like you love to do, like you guys just said, and then staying consistent with it moving forward. I want to touch a little bit on some of the biggest challenges that you've seen. And, I think most people probably understand, or I've heard anyway, that it's a good idea to create content, right? I don't think that goes, that's not a new idea to anyone in this room, I would imagine. But yet, if we were being honest, there's probably still people in this room who are not, for whatever reasons, creating consistent video content, right? If you were to look at their social media stuff, maybe they do it sometimes, maybe they don't do it at all, maybe they don't even have those platforms set up yet. And so I'm just curious, from your, all three of you are part of teams or work with other agents in your brokerage. I'm curious your opinion on like the biggest reasons or challenges that you think still hold agents back from creating content in this space, right, video world, and if you personally had to overcome certain, challenges to be able to get to where you are today in this particular, topic here with video marketing. If we can touch on that. Want to go first, Anya?
Sure. Yeah. So I would say the biggest thing I've seen is people just get really in their head and overthink it. You really just have to figure out your schedule for when you're going to film and when you're going to post, and that everything else will come together. So I would recommend doing like a 30-day challenge. So I just had something pop up from a couple years ago that I did. It was like a 30 neighborhoods in 30 days. And I literally drove to like 30 different neighborhoods and took like a couple minute clip talking about the neighborhood and posted it. But it gave me an idea of what to post, and it made me get into the habit of going out there, putting myself on camera and filming it. And I mean, this was like years ago, so I don't remember if I got any like real leads from it, but it doesn't matter because it got me in the habit of filming. And you don't have to film it every day. You can film it, like batch it, kind of what she said. She has a bank of videos. So I usually set aside like a couple hours every week and I go and film house tours. So you can do the same thing. Just set aside a couple hours, film your content, and then you don't have to edit it that day. I usually edit the day I post because it's just too much for me to edit that many. But just figure out what works for you, stay consistent, and put yourself on the camera. I do think that matters. And if you're kind of nervous about talking on camera at first, at least just do like a selfie video and then voice over it. And then later on, you can retake your voice as many times as you want. But I would just definitely put your face in there somewhere.
Honey?
The biggest problem is you. You are the biggest problem that you have about getting on camera. I don't care what you look like on camera. You just need to get on camera. It's not that hard, and people are in their head about it. You wouldn't believe the excuses I hear. Oh, my hair looks terrible today. Oh, I'm just not feeling it today. I'm too busy today. 1,000 excuses. And if you sit here right now and ask yourself why you're not on camera, it feels too big. It feels too hard. I'm too busy. Then don't do it. It's not for everybody. There's no rule that says you have to do it. I will tell you it has changed my business from doing probably, 5 million a year of mid sort of homes to consistently 20 million a year, because I use it as social proof to say, look at me, I'm the expert. If you need a house in Westchase, if you need to sell your house in Westchase, I'm your girl. And there is so many videos of me doing stuff about that. Now, do I sell houses other places? Yeah. Do I? All the things. But I want people to, I'm branded by my video content as being the expert in Westchase. And there's a lot of really good agents there. Like, really good. And I've been able to propel myself and cement a spot there because of all of the times I've told people that's what I do. So the reason that you're not on video, maybe you don't want to grow your business. Maybe you find that you think you sound stupid. Maybe you don't feel like you look right. Maybe you're awkward, but you're not going to get any better not doing it. And what do you got to lose? We do a job that people think anybody can do. And you can literally get a license for this by, on the back of a bar napkin. I mean, I don't know how they do it. Like, there's so many people that have it. You have to stand out. You have to do something that not anyone else is doing. So stop thinking that you look stupid and I sound stupid. I've got a funny accent. I've got big glasses.
I wish I had her accent.
But you will find your people. You have people. You have the followers. You're not looking for all of the followers on the universe. You're looking for your people. And you want to constantly remind them, hey, I sell houses. I'd love to help you. And I know about this stuff. And I'm better than all of the other people because I care. Or whatever it is. Maybe you don't care. I don't know. Don't tell them that. But they want to connect with you. So stop getting in your own way and telling yourself why you can't do it. And just do it. And by the way, I film videos at a red light. I'm not putting aside, she's way more professional than I am. I'm not putting aside any time. If I think of something, I'll just stop what I'm doing and I do it. The lighting in your car is amazing, by the way. I have a ring light and it reflects in my stupid glasses. So don't give yourself all of these excuses as why you can't do it. And you might not even be very good at it. You might not get any views. But I can show my perspective at my listing appointments. I can show them thousands of videos of the things that I've done talking about what it is they want me to do. And that's credibility.
No, it definitely is. I love your emphasis on one of the things that we've been building Top Producers Nation around is this concept of clarifying your USP, right? Understanding that's the very first principle of the 4 principles that we built this community around. And all of you really have been hitting on that in different ways today, is knowing your audience, knowing exactly who you want to serve, why you want to serve them, why that's important to you. And then when you've done the work to take the time to really clarify that, and you're not just an agent, the one of many agents that are out there, but you're a specialist in a certain area, now your video content has purpose behind it because your content is aligned with that messaging. But it starts with identifying that USP, and like you have for the West Chase community, YouTube is how I think about someone like Adam, and it's really identifying what it is that you want to be affiliated with, and then your content really can be, connected to that in many ways. Adam, do you have anything you want to add about the challenges? Go ahead.
You put me on a time limit?
We got about 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. So
I have one other question though, so don't take all 5 minutes.
I won't.
Go
Show
ahead.
of hands. Who would be excited if I told you could make $1 million if you committed 1 year to doing open houses? Would you do it? Show of hands. I got 2 hands. Oh, okay, good. So if I told you same thing with video content, if you could go all in, show of hands, would you do that? Okay. So I think all of us at some point has probably done an open house, door knocked, sphere of influence, maybe cold called ads, whatever it is that we're trained as realtors. It's the same thing with video. It all works. Not all of those are equally good. The only difference between all those other things that we mentioned and video is that there's no ceiling to it. It is absolutely endless as far as how many people you can reach, how many different ways you could repurpose it or use it for content. So how did I get into it? Well, you skipped that question. Was I decided that there was no ceiling on it and I could keep applying it and keep going at it. And so I went all in on that. That's probably the biggest hurdle, I would say, is that people think that there's literally a done for you. They don't have to touch it. It's just like, oh, let's just post sporadically. It's like if you farmed an area, you don't expect results in 2 months. Not consistent. Same with door knocking, open houses. If you did that, it's not like you're just going to go to the moon in the first month of doing it. But if you did it for a year, you look back and you got over a lot of hurdles. You learned a lot of new tricks. So it's just consistency. It's dedication to one specific thing, and then just leaning all in and becoming the specialist at it. And then after a year, if you decide, well, I didn't like it, that's okay. Because I think each of us has probably dedicated a lot of time to it. And so in deciding if video is right for you, I think that's probably the first step. You'll get over the hurdles of like, I hate camera, or I'm not the guy. Like all of those things you'll get over. It's just the dedication and consistency.
I feel like you mentioned this once before, but a good tip that Adam had once was to basically film like 8 videos and then just have them in hand and then start like posting them and then film while you're posting those. So like you already have something like lined up, you overcome the barrier, and then you already have like the bank to go, and then just kind of have something in place before you post your first one. But also just go and like start filming right away. And he mentioned a year. I would say at least do it like 90 days because most clients are scrolling and they don't buy a house that day. Like they're not ready. They're looking in a couple months or something like that. So usually my lead turnaround is around like 90 days. And a lot of times when people reach out to me, they have never interacted with any of my stuff. I didn't know that they followed me. They like don't engage you, but they're watching and they're ready to work with you. And I had somebody reach out to me just last week. They said they followed me 2 years ago and they've been watching me. And for 2 years now, they knew they wanted to work with me. So you never know. And you have to just keep putting out that content because people are watching and they're fans, whether you know it.
That is very true. I'm curious your organization now when it comes to like leveraging and staffing. Do you do all of your own postings? Do you have somebody who helps in any way to be able to schedule and post and execute the actual game plan? What does that look like as far as the organization?
So for social media, it's just me. I have a professional videographer for my own listings, but all the other content that's not my own listings, I do myself. I film it myself, I post it, and then I've been using ManyChat, which is like an automation reply. So basically people comment a trigger word and it responds to them, and you can set up like different flows. So you can have it message them like the next day and like the day of and stuff like that. So you kind of want to experiment with that too. I think they have like a free account for like the first 2,000 leads or something like that. And then after that, it's paid.
Yeah,
but
you can,
everything
you can
else
tell
myself.
your audience like comment home below or whatever, and if that word gets commented, you've set up the automation on the back end, so that word triggers the automation, and it's going to follow up with you through ManyChat.
Yeah, and I was a little bit hesitant about using that last year because I didn't want people to think it was like impersonal, but I just couldn't answer people fast enough, and people want information like at the snap of their fingers now. So if people don't get something right away, they lose interest. So you want to kind of utilize, whether you're sitting on your phone and responding really fast or you're getting the automation, you want to respond to people quickly. Like it is very urgent for some people.
Yeah, I've been playing around with that ManyChat platform as well. It definitely has some value to it for sure. Anything you want to add there, guys, as far as organizational structure?
It's a little bit disorganized over here. Other than, I'm just me. I'm a single agent. I'm a mom of 2 teenagers, and my husband travels a lot. So there's a lot that's going on in my life. I'm a control freak, like super control freak. I don't want anyone else touching any of my stuff ever. It's hard for me. So I post all of my stuff, but I do schedule, and I have it set up so that it filters to other platforms. So I'm really posting once, but it goes from Facebook to Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. I haven't found the right way to get other people to help me with that, other than I mentioned to you that I recently joined American Dream TV, and I'm using that specifically as a marketing tool to create more professional video content in my area of expertise. And I am paying an additional fee to have them push more of my content out, and therefore getting more views, and that is working very, very well.
Cool. Got it. Adam?
Yeah, so I'm giving it quick. My dad has owned a restaurant in Tampa 50 years. He's still in the kitchen. He did not build his business to go and scale past that. I kind of took that information into this, and I was always a single agent, did fantastic, never wanted a team. I always kind of felt like teams are just, they'll burn you out and you'll have a lot of high turnover. I have very little turnover, and it's because I built it around culture. And I was just telling Ksenia that if you build opportunity around your team with the players in your team, and you build with talent around you, and you invest back into them, it will only push you up, right? So I knew my life, what I wanted when I got into video, once it started working anyway. I was like, wow, I can't do both. It's hard to do video and hard to sell homes and hard to prospect and to do everything. So I immediately got out of production. And it happened to be during COVID. So I was doing all this, and I still consistently do 9 trips a year. My wife was able to quit her job. I knew exactly what I wanted, and I invested in the team around me. So I have a bunch of buyer's agents. I have an admin. Everybody has a TC. And then I have the marketing side that helps with video, because I've never edited a video. I don't know how. I can do an Instagram. So like I edit a lot of my Instagram myself. I do a lot of that myself because it's basic. They have basic tools for you like Canva or, CapCut or anything. But I've never had to learn editing. They teach us in real estate that find your hourly worth, and then anything that's over that or under that, go ahead and hire out for that. So I leverage everything as much as I can within reason and within growth. So I'll wear multiple hats until you get uncomfortable, and then build that team around you. Even if you're a single agent, build that support that you need.
I want to add something.
Don't fight over the mic now.
We've mentioned editing a couple of times, and I just don't want everyone to think this is an all-day project. While I'm sitting at that red light doing that video, I'm also quick edit, done, post. And I'm not. Don't do that though. It's parked. It's in park. I'm not driving in video. I never do that. But my point in telling you, and it's sort of a euphemism, I rarely do it at red lights. But when you're stopped, parked in your car, it doesn't have to be this complicated thing that you have to learn. These tools are for idiots. They really are. They're idiot proof. You can edit your video right there, and it's done, and then you can use it for 10 different things. So don't think that it's just so huge and difficult and complicated. It's going to take a ton of your time. It doesn't have to. And then you get faster and faster as you go.
But the first time I jumped on it, I felt like the idiot. Because I'm like the one, those dummies, like Internet for Dummies 101 books? That's for me.
Yeah.
So I am not the technology guy.
And you don't have to be.
With reps, it becomes second nature. So just keep doing it.
Yeah, it's not complicated. And not at red lights. Nobody is driving and videoing, okay? And I don't. Clear about that.
All right, we're going to end with this question, and we're going to have to wrap up. Is there anybody who had a question in the audience that you wanted to make sure you asked? Is there a burning question out there? I don't see a hand. I see one. Oh, we got a question back there. What type of platforms are you using to send out to to repurpose to multiple platforms?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, you can set your TikTok or your not your TikTok. Well, yeah, you can. Any of those, Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, you can direct it to go to post the same stuff on other channels. There's technical pieces to think about during that, but yeah, you can. It's very easy. There's an app for that? No. I mean, there might be. I just don't use it. It's because it's not that complicated. It's simply just setting up a setting.
Yeah, there's a few out there. I personally feel that there's different strategies for different platforms. So, and I don't like for short form, sometimes people will use Opus clips where they'll get like a long form video and chop it up into mini pieces. If you're just trying to get content to your audience, great. But if you care about that organic reach and you want the algorithm to do the work for you, I don't think it works. I've tried it, really quickly shut it down, and I didn't even like the way it chopped it up. So, start with one, go all in. That's just my personal advice. It could be different for somebody. I would say master one of them, and then do the same focus once that's like on cruise control, and then go to the next platform and do the same thing, knowing that it might be a slightly different approach.
Yeah, there is a platform called repurpose.io as well. Might be worth checking out for certain people. I know that others have used that. Is there a question behind you there, Katie? Go ahead. The question was, do you use different hashtags to try to increase view counts?
Yeah, so I feel like it's really loud now. So I usually use about 8 to 10-ish hashtags. I don't do like a bunch. I think the Masari or the Instagram creator guy, he came out and said you don't want to use too many. So I try to stick with local ones, usually less than 1 million views on the hashtag. You don't want to do something generic like real estate that's just too much competition. So I always do like a local neighborhood, or if there's something specific in the video, I'll do things like, I don't know, interior design trend or something. I don't know. But just kind of pick local ones, and then also pick ones that, like if you're showing a house with a white kitchen, you can say something about a kitchen trend or something like that. But I don't do more than 8 or 10. And sorry. I also always do a location tag too. So you want to use the location tag.
Yeah, this is probably the most valuable thing you'll hear today. It blew my mind when I learned it. You can set up a keyboard shortcut in your phone with your hashtags. So I type TT, and all of my hashtags just automatically drop into my post. That is the biggest time saver, because putting in 8 different hashtags every time is horrible and drives me crazy. I use the same hashtags all the time, unless there is something specific. I might add in another one, like, whatever, but to personalize. Always use your location tag also, absolutely. But that one, that keyboard one is a huge time saver, makes it much easier.
I'll be quick.
It's a good hack.
I think this will be the second most important tip. I'm not going to compete. I think your focus is wrong. If you're saying, how do I get from 200 to more views? It's not tags. It's your content. It's your formula. So let's just say it's Instagram. You need 3 seconds is kind of the threshold. You need more than 3 seconds to keep somebody's attention. Otherwise, they're swiping. If it's Instagram, if it's YouTube, it's 30 seconds. So on Instagram, if you need to capture somebody's attention, hook them really hard. Shock them. You need a shock factor, right? The market is crumbling, or get something that is just completely opposite and shock them in the first 3 seconds to get them to 6 seconds, and then open it up, and then give them build a curiosity gap. Make them think, wow, why? Where are they going to go with this? If you can create that emotion, they will stick around. The algorithm will push your content out to more people. The tag, it's not going to change anything. But if you decide to start going through tags and titles for more views, just make sure you're not reaching for more views, because empty views don't help your business, because at the end of the day, we're doing all of this to get real estate sales.
100%. And don't breathe before you start talking. Start talking straight away. So you watch any successful video, they don't go, they just say, and da-da-da-da. You got to grab them straight away.
All right, we're out of time. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. All 3 of them, I think, will hang out a little bit if you guys had any further questions to pick their brain here as we wrap up. I'll end by saying that we will be here next month talking about referrals, relationships, and reviews. That's our topic in June. So I look forward to seeing you then. And we'll see you at Top Producers Nation community. Check it out at topproducersnation.com. We'll see you next month. Later, guys.